So I received quite a few questions during the workshop, and I'm going to be answering some of them. If you have any question about the process or about my online mentoring program, please put in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to answer those. So just have to refer to the questions there. Some of the mistakes. The question was about the career episodes. They were asking, what are some of the mistakes that engineers usually they do when they write in their career episodes? So there are many mistakes that engineers can do, and but I'm going to talk about some of the important ones that you really shouldn't really be doing. The first mistake is when you are choosing your experience. You choose an experience that is not very complex. And why this can be a mistake when the experience is not very complex? Remember that when I spoke about the summary statement, you have 16 competencies to address when you are writing your career episode. And most of those competencies are from a technical perspective. There are some competencies that you can use soft skills, but majority of the competencies will be technical based. Which means that if your experience is not very complex in terms of engineering, it's going to be difficult for you to address all the 16 competencies. So that's one mistake. The other mistake is that when you're using an experience, it may not have an engineering problem. So what happens when you don't have an engineering problem? You're probably listening hearing my neighbor's dog barking. That's life. When you have a live session, you're subject to that. So when you don't have an engineering problem, you need to really to be aware that the example that you're going to use is going to require the demonstration of your engineering judgment, your engineering skills and capabilities. When you have an engineering problem that you're going to describe as an example in your career episode, usually the engineering problem will require you to demonstrate your engineering knowledge, judgment, to come up with the options, to come up with the decision why you have chosen that option, and also the demonstration of your engineering competencies when you are implementing that option, and clearly then demonstrating your engineering skills and competencies. Another mistake that engineers usually do when they write in their career episodes is that they ended up focusing too much on project management experiences. And during the workshop, I spoke about the Engineers Australia assessors emphasizing that they are there to assess your engineering skills and capabilities. They are not there to judge or to assess your project management skills and capabilities. If you want to be assessed by your project management capabilities, you should then go to the Australian Institute of Project Management, for example. So you need to make sure that you use engineering-based experiences when you are writing your career episodes. Another mistake is not really writing a lot of words. Even though the booklet suggests you to write between 1,000 words and 2,500 words, unless you are a very good writer, unless you can be very objective and very succinct, it's going to be very difficult for you to demonstrate all the 16 competencies if you just write 1,000 words. especially because English may not be your mother language, as it is not my mother language. So if you write 1,000 words, perhaps your report is going to be very superficial. You're not going to explore the whole breadth of the 16 competencies. So that's why I usually suggest and recommend to you that when you're writing your career episodes, try to write close to the maximum limit, which is 2,500 words, which is going to give you the opportunity to address very well each of the 16 competencies, not just once, but many times, which will make your career episode much more solid and stronger. The other question here certainly came from a Brazilian, because it's in Portuguese. Is there a possibility for me to be able to validate my qualification even though I never worked in the area in engineering here in Brazil? And the answer is yes. Even if you never worked in your area after you graduated, you can still validate your engineering qualification. How come? You can use your engineering academic experience. So if you don't have work experience, if you never worked as an engineer, or the work that you did, it's not really relevant to the definition of your occupation, you can always go back to your university studies and choose some work, some assignments, some projects that you did when you were studying engineering. Because Engineers Australia doesn't require you work experience. So that's why you can use your university engineering experience. The other question that I got was, I already have an Engineers Australia membership and my skills have been assessed by Engineers Australia. What is the next step? So first of all, well done in having had your engineering qualification validated by Engineers Australia, and you are already a member of Engineers Australia. The next step in the life of an engineer, a professional engineer here in Australia, is to achieve a chartered status. So Engineers Australia, they also have the status of Chartered Professional Engineer, CPEng, which is internationally recognized. As soon as you get your Chartered Professional Engineer status, you can actually then be recognized internationally. For example, I am a Chartered Professional Engineer and I automatically get recognized in the Asia Pacific Board of Engineers, and I can also be eligible to the registration, the national registration of engineers as well. So once you get your stage 1, your validation process, you can always work towards having a Chartered Professional Engineer, as well as then being registered in the states. Each state, Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, and so on, they have their own registration program. And in some professions, in some of the fields of engineering, you are obliged, it's a mandatory requirement to be registered as a professional engineer, so you can then provide professional engineering services. The other question is, how many times can I apply if I have a negative response from Engineers Australia? And the answer is, depends on the reason why you got a negative response from Engineers Australia. If you ended up having a final outcome negative, which means that you were not approved in your application because probably you didn't demonstrate the competencies, or the examples that you used, they don't match the definition of your occupation, it means that you can reapply straight away. You can apply straight away if you were not approved because of that. However, if you were not approved, if you got rejected because Engineers Australia found that you committed plagiarism, then you will need to wait until the banning period expires. And Engineers Australia, depending on the severity of your plagiarism, they can give you a banning period or up to 3 years or 36 months. So if they give you a 3-year banning period, it means that you will need to wait 3 years until you can reapply for your validation. But again, if you got a negative result because you didn't address the competencies, even after you resubmit with the feedback and the additional information, you can reapply straight away. The only thing is that if you were not approved using those career episodes and summary statement, you will need to change, because if you were not approved using those experiences, it means that it's a good idea for you to choose a different experience to write new career episodes and to write a new summary statement as well. The other question that I received was, I do not need to validate my qualification for visa purposes. I know that I need to do just stage 1. What is the difference between stage 1 and migration skills assessment? Is stage 1 easier? If you don't need to do your validation because of migration purposes, let's say that you have already a visa, you're not going to apply for a visa, or you don't plan to stay here, you have already one visa that you can work, and you just want to be a member of Engineers Australia. In that case, you're going to do stage 1 of membership eligibility, and the process is very similar to the migration skills assessment. Very, very similar. You still need to write your career episodes, and you still need to write your summary statement. You still have exactly the same 16 competencies. You still need to do your curriculum vitae, and you still need to provide your English test. So the only thing is that when you choose the service that Engineers Australia are going to do, instead of choosing migration skills assessment, you're going to choose stage 1 of membership eligibility. And there could be some relaxation in terms of the English, but it's always a good idea to double check with Engineers Australia if you're not exempt, if you can still utilize some of the relaxation for the English test as well with Engineers Australia. The other question is very common. How long can you stay in Australia after you get your validation? It's very important to say that the validation of your qualification has nothing to do with the visa. The right to stay in Australia depends on the type of visa that you have. If you hold a visa that allows you to stay in Australia, you can then stay in Australia until that visa expires. Once that visa expires, you shouldn't really be here. You either renew it or you leave the country. So even though if you have your qualification validated, it doesn't mean anything. The qualification validation helps you to apply for the skilled visa, for example. So, but you need to talk to a migration agent to see what's your best option. If you hold like a student visa and you get your validation, you will need other things to be able to be eligible to apply for a skilled visa. So very important to talk to the migration agent, and you can stay in Australia as long as you hold a valid and current visa. I've got a few documents here that I've got the questions. This question is very common. How can you guys help me about a job? And that's a very common question. A lot of people, they ask me, Jason, can you help me to find a job? And well, I can help you so you can be more competitive to get a job. How? I can help you with the validation process. My students, the ones that got validated, they are, you know, much more competitive nowadays to get a job. Because you've got to imagine that when there is a job advertising, there will be many people applying to that job. And let's say about 30 people applying to the job. Out of the 30 people applying to the job, let's say that half of it not going to have their qualification validated. For example, you. And the other half will have the validation already done, and some of them even going to have the registration done. And let's pretend that there's just one vacancy, just one place for an engineer. If you still have 15 people already validated or registered, and the other 15 people not even validated, the recruitment panel will probably not going to consider the 15 people that are not validated. Unless the position is a very special position, very specialized, very unique, that even though somebody that's not validated could be potentially a good candidate. But for the majority of the engineering positions, let's say that they are normal, ordinary engineering positions, in this case, probably the panel is going to discard the 15 applications that are not validated. And then out of the other 15 applicants, they're going to shortlist probably 4 or 5 candidates so they can do the interview. Which means that if you are an engineer, an applicant that has already validated, you're probably in a better chance to get an interview when compared to the other ones that were not validated, because the other ones that were not validated probably didn't even have the opportunity to be considered for an interview, already discarded straight away. Unless there is just a handful of applicants and you are one of them, even though you're not validated, you potentially could be called for an interview just because there are just a handful of applicants, and panels, they're usually going to interview between 4 and 5 people. So that is how I can help you to get a job. Helping you to validate your qualification, making you more competitive to at least be selected for an interview. And obviously, once you select to an interview, it's up to you to make sure that you sell yourself very well, and you are then chosen to be the successful candidate. The next question is a very simple question, very short and simple, but the answer is not very simple. Where should I start my validation? Very simple question. And I'll try to be very simple as well. You should start by reading, and it's not even reading, it's studying the Migration Skills Assessment booklet. So you go to the Engineers Australia website, and then you find prepare my Migration Skills Assessment application, and it's a booklet, a PDF booklet that you should read, you should study that booklet very, very well. So that's where you should start. It's very important that you understand 100% of the process. It's very important that you understand 100% of the competencies and how to write the career episodes, terminologies, how to match the examples with the competencies and so on. So that's probably a very, very good way to start. I'm going to write in the comments here the site of my mentoring, validation mentoring.com. The link is in my bio as well. I'm going to pin this one. Yeah. So you can double check on my website. There is a special offer until 11:59 tonight. I'm giving you $600 discount, as well as the access of 9 extra bonuses that I'm giving to you for free. All of the bonuses, they cost around $1,800, but I'm giving to you as part of the mentoring program for free. So, and with the $600 discount, the investment that you're gonna do is going to be just $1,147 until 11:59 p.m. tonight, Brisbane time. If you procrastinate, if you think too much about it, and you decide to join the program tomorrow, the discount is going to be $400. Tonight until 11:59 p.m. the discount is $600. So between today and tomorrow you can be worse off $200. So it's better to rush and take the opportunity and enroll tonight until 11:59. If you ended up thinking that after you watch the classes and have my mentoring, it didn't help you to improve your CDR application, you just need to send me an email with a copy of your CDR, so I know that at least you tried to do. And just write saying that the content of my mentoring program didn't help you to improve your application and you would like 100% refund, and you will get it. You've got 30 days to ask for that. And I'm giving you this because I'm pretty sure that the content of my mentoring and the modules that I have in my portal will certainly help you to improve your application, and you're not going to ask for a refund. Obviously, there could be people that they're going to ask for refund anyway, but I trust that you're not going to do that with me. If you really think that it helped you, you're not going to ask for a refund. So check my website until 11:59 p.m. tonight. You have the opportunity there. And if you have any question, send me a direct message. I'm going to answer all the questions that you have about the validation, about my mentoring program, and I just want to make sure that you understand everything, so we can work together to make sure that your application is going to be really strong and you will be approved by Engineers Australia. The other question that I received, it's quite simple. Yeah, probably that question was probably before live number 2. How many episodes do we need to write? Simple answer, you just need to write 3 career episodes. You need to choose 3 experiences of your engineering, either academic or work experience, and write for each of the 3 experiences, you write 1 career episode, including all the 16 competencies in each of the career episodes. That's me saying. Engineers Australia doesn't oblige you to include all the 16 competencies in each career episode, but I strongly encourage you and my students to include the 16 competencies in each of the career episodes, because that's going to make your application much stronger. The other question that I received, and I'm probably just going to answer just a couple more questions because we've gone past half an hour. I have 3 years of experience, but my projects for a good CDR is from the first 2.5 years. Is it okay? So yeah, he's saying that he doesn't really have good experiences towards the end of the 3 years. The experiences that he's got, they are from the beginning of his professional career. And my answer is that yeah, that's okay. If you think that those experiences, they match the definition of the ANZ SEO occupation that you're going to apply for, go for it. Even if they are very similar, there's always something a little bit different. So, but if you really think it's very equal, very similar, perhaps you need to go back to some of your university engineering experience and write 1 experience from university and then maybe 2 experiences from work experience. And the last question is how to choose the best experiences for the career episodes to match with the competencies. I'll try to be very succinct. First of all, you need to understand very well the competencies. If you understand very well the competencies, you will find experiences that they are more related to those competencies. The other one is that your experience needs to be matching the definition of your occupation according to ANZ SEO, the Australian New Zealand Standard Classification of Occupation. If your experiences, they don't match the occupation definition, it's going to be very likely that Engineers Australia will reject your career episode and will ask you to rewrite your career episode choosing another experience. Okay, so really important that you do make sure that your experiences, they are matching the definition of your occupation that you're going to apply according to ANZ SEO. And I think that's going to be it for tonight. So once again, I would like to thank you guys very much. This live is going to be in my profile. I've pinned the website of my online mentoring program for you to double check what's included, what's going to be the bonus, the $600 discount, warranty, and there are a few videos there for you to watch that they are testimonies of some of my students that they were approved. Okay, so if you have any question, send me a direct message. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my mentoring program. Thank you very much, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.